We just tested the Focus RS, and with its tricksy all-wheel drive system, its aggressive looks, and its incredible handling, it proved to be one hell of a car. But APR has had its way with this Golf R, and 409 pound-feet of torque scream, "Move the hell out of the way, Ford Focus." Right away, when you set foot in the Golf R, you realize, well, it's in the same class. It's the same type of car as the Focus RS. It is completely different. It feels so much more refined. This feels like an adult's car, whereas the Focus RS seems a bit like a toy. Now, that's not a downside for the RS if that's what you're looking for. Some fun car that's really for nothing other than having fun. This takes it up a notch with the maturity level. It's like a Focus RS wearing a suit. Everything is in nice leather. The seats are a lot more comfortable. Feels a little bit more airy and spacious in here. And if it didn't have the wrap job that it currently does, it would look like a complete sleeper. In fact, it doesn't look all that much different than a base Golf or a GTI. The Golf R starts at $35,600, which really isn't that bad for what you get. 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 292 horsepower, and 280 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in the mid 4-second range with the DSG gearbox, which is an option if you opt for the manual. I guess it's not an option, you save some money. We'll talk a little bit more about how the manual performs in a little bit. But this is an APR Stage 2 car, which means it has an intake, it has the downpipe, exhaust, and a tune. All of that together, a little less than $5,000. You can kind of piece it together however you want. The components can be sourced from any manufacturer, but APR did do the software, which bumps this car up to 392 horsepower and an impressive 409 pound-feet of torque. Honestly, this is in a different league of speed compared to a stock Focus RS. Of course, this has been modified, but even though it's only got an extra 42 horsepower and 60 pound-feet of torque over the RS, it feels a lot quicker than that. What's crazy is some of these cars equipped with a DSG gearbox have gotten into the 10s. That's just ridiculous for a hot hatch to run in the same league as an Audi R8 V10 or a Huracan or a 911 Turbo S. This car, as equipped with the manual, can run low to mid 12s, which is also really impressive. That's faster than an Audi RS5. And remember, we're talking all in about $40,000 for a brand new Golf with the APR Stage 2 kit. Finally, this is the first Golf that you can fully turn traction control off. Press and hold for a couple seconds the ESC off button. Let's put it in first, dump the clutch. We've got all-wheel drive. It's got a race clutch in it, aftermarket. Let's see how it launches. This car, oh my God, this car is quick. From a dynamics perspective, this car is not quite as tricked out as the Focus RS. We have an off-the-shelf Haldex all-wheel drive system, but it does provide plenty of grip, a ridiculous amount of extra grip compared to the front-wheel drive Golf GTI. That car, if it gets rainy, it's spinning the tires everywhere. This, you get a little bit of a chirp, and then off you go. Seriously, even with traction control off, you can mash the throttle in any gear, even with a hell of a lot of extra horsepower than stock, and this car wants to go. Around corners, provides plenty of grip, slightly less than a Focus RS, but you won't notice it unless you're a professional driver, which I'm not. Whereas the Focus RS feels like a $40,000 car in terms of performance, this feels like a $40,000 car in terms of performance, looks, and interior. It's a lot more luxurious in here. I love the piano black trim. You've got leather. The steering wheel feels like it's straight out of an Audi instead of something cheaper to save money for the performance. Overall, this car feels a little bit better built. Ooh. And the grip is awesome. A lot of the people on the forums are complaining about the manual transmission. I'll admit it doesn't have the smoothest feel in the world. It's a little bit notchy, feels a little bit crunchy. Honestly, the manual gearbox in this car is really what's holding it back. If you buy the DSG, it's a great transmission, and especially if you do APR, you will walk a manual transmission car. I mean, 0 to 60 times, 0.4 seconds faster. as the more and more power that you add to the car, the bigger the gap gets. You can't keep up with that gearbox with a manual, no matter how good you are. It is fun, but this 6-speed manual is by no means one of the best transmissions we've driven. You got 4 different driving modes in this car. Got a selection button right by the stick shift. Got comfort, normal, race, and individual. In individual, you can adjust everything to your liking. Race mode feels a little bit stiff in terms of the suspension, but I like the throttle response and the steering the most in that position. So check this out. I'm sitting in the back of the Golf R. Even in the middle seat, which is higher than the others, I still have headroom. I've got plenty of legroom if I sit behind myself or even behind somebody who's taller. This car is really spacious, and you've got plenty of room as well in the back to store whatever you want, from golf clubs to tripods and sliders and camera gear for filming a vehicle versions review. This car seriously is practical. The backup camera, surprising enough, is actually a talking point for this car. The graphics are really, really good, and you've also got some customizability in terms of the brightness as well as contrast and color options for the backup camera that makes it really, really easy to see what's actually behind you, instead of just adding that as a feature so you can say the car has a backup camera, but you're better off turning your head anyways. Of the STI, the RS, and the Golf R, this is the most mature of the 3. It is totally a hot hatch that is fun to drive, especially if you tune it. It's stupid fast, and it's absolutely a daily driver. This is a practical car that you can drive year-round. This car has aftermarket suspension. It's lowered a bit, but even though the springs are stiffer, it's still comfortable to drive. Of course, with the different driving modes, you can customize it however you like. I'm really liking the Golf R. Now, if you're looking for something that is a ton of fun on tight back roads and that's all you care about, get the Focus RS. If you're looking for something that's great year-round, this is the best. And if you're looking for something that can run high 10s in the quarter mile, if you modify the crap out of it, look no further than the Golf R. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.